Are you struggling to keep clients from leaving your agency? Well, you're not alone. Many agencies and businesses focus so much on getting new clients in the door that they actually ignore the systems needed to keep them long term. And this is a major problem. One of my mentors and coaches told me something that I will never forget, which is the easiest clients to get are the ones that you already have. Meaning, let's nurture your existing clients, let's make them want to stay forever rather than constantly chasing new ones. That's also important, and obviously you need to get new clients in the door, but you want to make sure that it's not this constant cycle of gaining and losing clients. So that's why in today's video, I'm going through the 3 game-changing systems that will radically reduce client churn and help your agency grow without constantly needing to replace lost clients. If you've ever felt frustrated watching hard-earned clients walk away, stick with me, because by the end of this video, you're gonna have a clear plan to increase client retention and maximize long-term revenue. Let's dive in. If you're in the midst of high client churn, or you're afraid that you're about to get there, or maybe you're just proactive and you want to avoid it at all costs, I'm super excited for you to be diving into this video. We're going to go through the core systems that you need to drastically reduce client churn and improve client retention. It is not as complicated as you think, but it all comes down to, you guessed it, systems. I'm going to walk you through our project management tool, ClickUp specifically, but you can definitely do this in other tools as well. So there are a few core things when it comes to client retention systems. First, I want to walk you through from the beginning, having an active client database that not only stores onboarding, offboarding, and active clients, but also includes this health tracking system. So this is a template that we have in our shop, and also it's in our ClickUp template vault. We use this exact health tracking system within our agency, and we use it with a lot of our clients as well when we're building out their ClickUps and their client health trackers. Now, we'll also customize this to things that they want to see because every client values different things, right? So what we always recommend is you may have your client space, right? And then you have active lists for the specific clients, but you should have one client database where you can get a snapshot of all of your active clients, past clients, who's in onboarding. What is the health? Where can you track specific things like their contract start and end? Who's their primary contact information? Now, you may also have this in your CRM as well, which is great. But you want to make sure that you're able to see what you want to see in terms of this client and getting real-time updates. So just going through this quickly, I want to show you what we have in here. So here we have the different statuses that a client can go through: onboarding, active client, offboarding, past client. And here you'll see we have to do and complete for these subtasks. So we have onboarding and offboarding checklist templates where you can see there are a bunch of different things that have to happen for a client to onboard, right? That is a huge key piece. We're actually going to touch on having a seamless client onboarding system, a little bit later in this video. But having all of the tasks mapped out, what does everyone have to do on the team, making the client feel taken care of from the moment they sign their contract and pay their first payment. You want to make sure they don't feel like you just wanted their money and now, okay, they have to ask all these questions. What's going on? What's the project of their status? So having just something as simple as a checklist in here is going to be super crucial so everyone's on the same page. Tracking the status, right? Who's onboarding, who's active, who's offboarding. It's really simple, but really nice to see, just this pulse check. You can then see the account manager if you have account managers, or if there are specific people. Let's use a design agency as an example. So we're working with a design agency right now, and there are specific people that are assigned to specific clients in terms of copywriting and in terms of design. So one client may have a specific account manager, designer, and copywriter, and this is a great place to use a people custom field in ClickUp to note who is assigned to the specific project. Remember, this is just like an overview. You'll get into the nitty-gritty once you get into the client project, which I'll touch on that quickly in this video. But these are just like quick checkpoints to know the general information. You then have client health. So this is just traffic light system, green, yellow, red. Some people prefer to use NPS scores or number conventions and different things like, are they a promoter? Are they a fan, etc. We then have client codes for every client. Not only is this super helpful in terms of communicating with specific clients, in terms of like, hey, what's the project update on ESG, TTI, whatever. But also we actually have an automation in each client project that every time a task is created, it automatically assigns the client code. And then we're able to filter out tasks more easily on like dashboards and overviews and things like that. If you guys want a tutorial on that, can also show you that. That doesn't have as much to do with client retention and more to do with like project organization and project management. Then we have contract start and end, primary contact name and email address. If you use a relationship field to link specific projects, what are the services purchased? Do you want to have total spent? Having a rating field so you can know, is this an ideal client on our end? Not necessarily, what they're rating you, although we'll go through that as well. So those are the fields that you can have. You can also add so many other custom fields in terms of the information that you want to see about this client. But remember, you don't want to get too granular. What are the basic things that you need to know with the click of a button in your client database? Okay, so then you can also take this information and you can filter different views at the top, right? We can just filter a view of active clients. You can put things in a table view if you like seeing table as well. And then let's dive into one of my favorite views, which is the CHI Customer Health Index dashboard. So in this dashboard, you can see a pulse check on your clients in different ways that are more numerical. You can have activity views. You can really adjust this for what you want to see on here. Maybe you even see, okay, of all of our active clients, what are, their current project totals, etc. So here you can see these calculation widgets are how many total active clients. So this is just the status is active client. What about clients in onboarding? Status is onboarding. Offboarding, status is offboarding. Then you can see, okay, how many clients do we have in red, yellow, and green? Obviously, goal is that you have as many clients in green as possible. But this gives you the chance to be like, okay, who's in red, who's in yellow? Click into this and how can we check in with this person? I actually want to create another widget in real time that's super helpful, which is seeing these in a pie chart or a bar chart. So I'm going to add a card and I'm going to go to custom and then go to pie chart. And here I'm going to do clients by health. Here I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say, okay, I want to filter that the status is, and it would only be onboarding, active, or offboarding. You can even do just active clients as well. And I want to group this by the custom field client health. And now you're going to be able to see the breakdown visually of who's in green, yellow, red. Let me see why this is not, okay, because I forgot to click active. There we go, and there we go. Okay, so now I can go ahead and bring this up here, or you can really put this anywhere on your dashboard. You can also see that it's not showing like the green, yellow, red, but you can click into here and show the legend as well. Okay, so then we have a couple other widgets just as examples here. Who are the clients in offboarding so you can track those tasks. And then active clients by health, so grouping them by green, yellow, red. And then we have an activity view. So you can see, any comments that have been made, any changes that have been made, just getting that snapshot into the client database, which is great. Okay, so I hope that part is helpful in terms of just seeing what's possible within a client health tracking and reporting system. Now I kind of want to go into some additional things and best practices that we recommend. So we recommend that whether or not you have an account manager or the account manager is you, you're doing regular check-ins on your client, not only internally, but externally. So I recommend that you have recurring tasks, say once a week, once a month, that you go into this client database and you ask some important questions about this client. Because realistically, you can go through your day-to-day, your week-to-week. Clients seem fine, things really aren't on fire, but have you heard from that client in a while? Have you actually asked them how things are going or if you're happy with their work? We have clients who they have told us, we had a long-standing client that we loved and they were a recurring client for years, and all of a sudden they canceled and we thought everything was great, but found out that they wanted, more attention, more hand-holding, more check-ins. And if we had been more proactive, that situation wouldn't have happened. So this is a great way to have the account manager have a recurring task being like, what was the overall client's sentiment this week or this month? Were any deadlines missed, rescheduled, or at risk? Did we deliver something of clear value this week? Has the client's level of engagement changed? Are there any unresolved concerns or opportunities to upsell? These are just, 5 core examples, but you can make this your own. And here's like a big indicator is, has the client's level of engagement changed? Even like I mentioned, if nothing's on fire and a client isn't like asking you for a million things, 100% we can get in the mode of like, we've done everything on our end. We're just waiting for the client. But if you're not checking in with them on a regular basis, number one, things are just going to drag on and then they're going to be like, wow, we've been doing this project for months and nothing has been resolved, even if it's technically on their end. So you want to be as proactive as possible. Another way that you can do this is with automations. So we recommend having at least quarterly check-ins with your clients where you can even mention, this is a canned email, but we want to just check in with you. So ClickUp has recently enhanced their automations with scheduling, which is so exciting, that you can actually schedule automations every X amount of days, weeks, minutes, etc. So you can have an automation trigger every 12 weeks on Monday at 9 a.m. and never that if the status is active client, send them a check-in email. So this can go to the client email address. Hi, primary contact first name. Hope you're doing well. Just want to check in. It's been a pleasure supporting you. Here are a few quick questions to guide our check-in. Totally optional, but helpful. If you prefer to hop on a quick call, I'd be happy to schedule something. Thank you for trusting us. We're excited to keep supporting your success. So putting these automations in, yes, there's absolutely a line of like, you don't want your client to feel like they're just interacting with a robot, but having these things will prompt the conversation, whether they're super happy and then you have the chance to ask for a testimonial, or there's something that feels a little bit off. This is where you can address it before it becomes an actual problem. Now, you can also do this in your CRM as well. We use Honeybook as our CRM, so you can have check-in things through that as well, or you can do it in your client dashboard, customer health index tracking system within ClickUp or your project management tool. So that really wraps up the client retention system. Now I want to go into system number 2, which is automated client touchpoints. So I know I touched on that just in the last few minutes, but I want to dive a little bit deeper into this. So what other items can you do to have automated touchpoints aside from an actual automated email or message going out to your client? So one of the biggest things when you're doing a project for a client is visibility. There are definitely clients who will just give you their credit card and be like, great, let me know when this is done, and don't need hand holding at all. But you always want to give your client the option and have transparency in what you're doing. Now, there are levels to transparency. There are definitely clients who could take advantage and, if they have access to your project management tool, they could be diving into every single thing your team is doing, watching all the comments back and forth, etc. So you definitely want to decide what level of access you want them to have. but I want to go through a quick example of, examples how you can have a client dashboard, how you can have a client view via ClickUp, and send them these things in the beginning of the project so they automatically have visibility into the project whenever they want to get a pulse check, and then they have a clear communication channel with you to send regular updates, ask questions, etc. So let's go into, there are a couple different ways you can do this. Either you have a project that's start to end and it's like grouped by phases, etc. Here you can see, here's another thing that like the more organized you are, the more impressed your client is going to be, the more taken care of they're going to feel. So having systems in place, having templates is going to pay off so much in the long run, not only for keeping your team on track with milestones and deadlines, but also giving your client that security as well. So here you can see this is actually a free template that we have in our template shop, which is our project management template. You can create different templates for different offers and projects that you have for your clients. And this will allow you to have everything in one place. What are the milestones? What are the due dates? Who are the assignees? Who's doing what? Now, you can either add your client directly to this as a guest by going to the list settings, sharing in permissions. Let me show you hello@gmail.com. And then you can invite them as a guest. Here you can say, do I want them to be able to edit this? Do I want them to view only, or they can only comment on things? Or do I want to give them more restricted access where they could just see what the statuses of all the tasks are? If that's the case, what you can do is actually duplicate this view, rename it client view, and then you can hide the things that you don't want them to see. Let's say you don't want them to see who's working on what. You don't want them to see comments. Maybe we just want them to see start and due date, status, priority. I'll go ahead and hide time estimate and time tracked. Then what you can do is right-click on the client view, go to sharing and permissions, and toggle on the share link with anyone. Now, if you copy this, the client has public access to this link. You can send this to them in the beginning of the project. And now they can just see the pulse check on what's happening with the project instead of feeling like they have to reach out to you and be like, what's the status on XYZ? You can even show, something that's in client review and be like, so they know that that's waiting on them. So that's a really great way to give people visibility into what's going on without too much access, so your team still has the freedom to comment things that you need to comment and the client doesn't see every single thing that's going on. So that's a way to add a client view. And then the last thing I want to mention is dashboards as well. So if we come into the ClickUp Client Management template, this is in our shop as well. Basically, all the templates that you're seeing are currently in our shop. Here you can see this client dashboard. So this is a really great way to use dashboards where you can share a dashboard with your client. Note, if it's as a view, you do have to share the entire list currently. I think this will change in the future. But you can absolutely build this just in the dashboards hub, and then you can share just that dashboard with the client. So on this dashboard, you can have something like a welcome video, a welcome message, transparency between your contact info and meetings and working hours. So you're setting boundaries from the beginning, having a chat with the client, putting important documents and links, adding their task list, whether you're adding it as a list widget if they're added to the list, or you're using an embed widget to actually embed that public link so they actually can't click into it but view it. And then, having project deliverables. You can totally make this your own with what you want on it, but having this from the beginning, again, is going to give that security to their client that things are organized, you're going to be updating them regularly, and they can access the information they need whenever they want. Then lastly, let's touch on gathering client feedback. So you can create a testimonial form or happiness survey inside of ClickUp, and you can gather testimonials and feedback throughout the process. So you can even have multiple feedback surveys of, say, in the client database. When a client moves from onboarding to active client, you can trigger an automation that sends them an email that's like, hey, we've successfully completed the onboarding phase. Can we get some feedback on how this went for you? And we can improve for, amazing clients like you, etc. Use AI to help you wordsmith that. But that's where you can have different testimonial forms or feedback surveys to automatically ask for that feedback. Now, I know that there's different taboos around automation, right? Some people love it. Some people are hesitant to use it. Some people feel like it's too robotic. But reality is when you set these things in place and you also use your brand voice and tone so it doesn't feel like it's a completely canned response, it's going to show your client that you're there and you're proactive. And then it's also going to get rid of that funny feeling of manually being like, hey, can I get feedback? Because it's just automatically going to happen. So you're never going to have that debate. Should I send this? Should I not? So, and you can also totally have buttons or things that are send feedback survey if you do want that as a manual option. So think of going from onboarding to active, going from active to offboarding, going from, they're an active client, let's check in 90 days or 6 months from when they began working with us. This all is going to depend too on your client journey, right? So you're going to want to make sure you have your client journey mapped out and really tight. We'll talk about that in a second when we go into our final point. But having that mapped out, you'll be able to say, okay, our engagements, they're project-based and they typically take 3 to 6 months. So we're going to gather feedback at 3 months and 6 months. Maybe you have retainer services and you're like, our client retention is really high. We have clients for 3 to 5+ years. Maybe I want to check in at 9 months and then I want to check in yearly. Totally up to you, but having those things in place are going to not only make your clients feel nurtured, heard, seen, but also give you a chance to get really good feedback. Whether it's a raving testimonial that you can publish in your marketing materials, or it's really good feedback that you may not have caught, your team may not have caught, and you can use that to improve your services. Clients will have the utmost respect and give you their honesty when they know that you genuinely want feedback to serve them and your other clients better. So those are the things that I have to say in terms of automated checkpoints. There are tons of things that you can do here. Let me mention one more thing. Even in the client management, you can also have, right, when you're sending something for a client, for review, you don't want things to get stuck. So we actually have a whole tutorial on this client management template and the client management system. But here you can see where when it goes into, let me show you the automations we have here. So when it goes into from internal review to approved send to client, it's going to then reassign our project manager with a due date of that day or 1 day later. Let me give this a refresh. Okay, so today, right? She's then going to send it to the client and then move it to awaiting client review. This is then going to reassign the due date to 3 days later. And then once she goes ahead and sends follow-up number 1, when this is in client review, she'll move this to follow-up number 1, sent 3 days. It's then going to reassign the due date to 4 days later. And then she's going to go ahead and move it to follow-up number 2, sent. It's then going to reassign to 7 days later, 10 days later, etc. And then this will be automating and reminding her, hey, follow up with this client again. What's our follow-up cadence? Until it goes into no response 10+ days, and it's going to move to client delay. So then it goes into client delay. It lets the team know, hey, this task is now in client delay. And you're able to see, okay, we did our job of following up 3 times on this deliverable. It's now in client delay. Maybe we now have to reach out to them and schedule a call to go over these things in real time. So having systems like this as well, where you have the cadence of when you're following up with clients, things are not slipping through the cracks. You have things on the schedule to be like, okay, this is the, how far apart we want to check in with things. Here are all the things that the client is delayed on, and they know that you're checking up on your end. You don't even have to think about it. The system is doing it for you. So you can have this automated where it's sending an email to the client to follow up about that thing, or it's just a reminder where, your account manager goes into Slack, follows up with them, and then marks this as they've done the follow-up. So the last thing I'm going to touch on with you today during this video is the third system that is going to radically reduce client churn, which is your client onboarding system. So let me tell you a really crazy statistic that I actually didn't know before filming this video, which is 60% of client churn happens within the first 90 days. Think about that for a second. Your first impression is everything. If you start off your onboarding process where your client feels that things are disorganized, they're not structured, they feel confused, they're going to second guess their investment before they even see results. So like I mentioned, having a sleek system, not only for yourself and internally, but also to present to clients, is going to be a really great way to start off your working relationship. So let's talk about the actual logistics of having a really good onboarding system. In this, I'm going to show you some examples of things that we actually do, and then I'll go into some just concrete examples as well. So, believe it or not, the onboarding actually starts from the moment the lead inquires with you, right? You want to set the standard for how you're going to nurture that client, keep them in your sales pipeline, and making sure that they feel seen. So, from the moment they inquire, giving them what they need, right? So, mapping out your client journey is key. Giving you this quick example as well. We saw that there was a high percentage of booking when people inquired to work with us, but people would inquire to work with us and then just ghost when we sent them the link to schedule a call. So instead, what we did is we actually embedded on our website our contact form with our scheduler. And so this is through our CRM Honeybook. This was just able to directly increase our bookings for sales calls. We get the information that we need for them right away. And then after this, we send them a message being like, hey, thanks for booking a call. Can't wait to chat with you about XYZ. So they still know, that we're going to nurture them. After the sales call, we have really sleek systems in terms of being able to get a proposal in their hands fast. Everyone is going to be different depending on how intensive your proposal process is, but having a clear system and CRM like Honeybook, for example, let me show you a quick look into what our proposal actually looks like. So in this, you can see that we're delivering a super sleek proposal with a welcome message, with a little bit about our company, our core team, the scope and deliverables and timeline, etc. Wrapping up with even having testimonials in the proposal as well. Moving on to having a simple invoice. Note, remember, these are customized per client. And then moving on to payment and allowing them to choose, do they want to pay in full? Do they want to split up the payment, etc. So having a super sleek starting point then allows you to just put in the details. This is going to be super impressive to your client, and they haven't even become your client yet. Then after this, you want to make sure that you have follow-ups. After you send the proposal, you're still providing them with value, giving them customized follow-ups as well. And especially if it's a large investment, then, talking more about why this would be a good investment for their company, giving them different resources related to what you would deliver for them. And then when they become your client and sign and pay, you want to make sure the next steps are in their hands right away. So I want to show you in our CRM this automation. Now, this is super simple, but it does the job. So what we do here is when the first payment is paid on, I'm using the ClickUp Agency Accelerator as an example, Then it will automatically send the ClickUp Agency Accelerator welcome email, which is going to be like, welcome aboard. We're thrilled to have you. Here's what we need from you to get started. Fill out your onboarding form. This then links to a ClickUp form. So now we're going to start the process in ClickUp. After that's done, here's what will happen next. We're here to guide you every step of the way, etc. So we are giving them the next steps right away. Although, yes, this is canned. It feels really good that they don't have to ask any questions. From there, then they're going to fill out the onboarding form. And then once they fill in this form and give us the information we need, that's when they're going to then come into the client database. This is our sample one, remember, because I don't want to show sensitive client information. And it's going to populate our onboarding checklist. Our project manager is then going to go ahead and set up their Slack channel, their combined Slack channel, which is how we primarily communicate with our clients. We're going to all introduce ourselves in there, order a client gift, set up any of the necessary onboarding tasks. So all of that happens within a matter of like 24 to 48 hours. So you can see how seamless that will feel for the client, from getting the proposal to paying to getting their next steps to us then kicking off, okay, here's what we need to do next. Everything is mapped out and crystal clear, not only for our clients, but also for our team. So there are so many ways that you can do this. Even if you don't have a CRM, I highly recommend 100% that you have a CRM or a project management tool, but depending on your tech stack, you can totally even make this work with free tools. So even your email, having like DocuSign or HelloSign, having Google Forms, etc., you can automate this with another tool like Zapier and really bring this to life. Obviously, I think having a solid CRM and project management tool is going to make it a lot easier, but you can use an array of different tools to accomplish something like this. The key to this is really taking the time to map out your client journey. Number one, we can do this with you 100%. Number two, utilize AI. Tell AI what you do. What are the things you need from your clients? And it will help you build out welcome emails, forms, a workflow, a process, your client journey. So map that out, decide on the tools that you are going to stick to. Use forms, right, to gather that information, automate things, make sure you're still having some level of personalization, but you're giving your client the next steps and giving them an idea of what's ahead. And then automate your onboarding materials, your training materials. Have those check-in points throughout the first 90 days as well. Depending on how long your onboarding process is, every agency and company will be different. So definitely take the time to sit down and be like, okay, set up a plan for the first X amount of days. How long is our onboarding process? And then determine, what does success look like for you? What is your client expecting from you? What do you expect from your team? Having this all out and documented is going to make it so much clearer. And yes, it feels like a task now, but once you set this up, you are going to be set up for success. Your team is going to be happier. You're going to be happier. Your clients are going to be happier. So it's definitely work on the front end. We're here to support you, whether you want to purchase templates, courses, done-for-you services. But investing the time and or money into this process is going to pay off tenfold when it comes to your client retention and your client journey. And that is all I have for you guys today. I hope that video was helpful and gave you some tangible examples of how you can increase your client retention through different systems and tools in your tech stack. And I'm super excited for you to implement these. As always, we are here to support you if you need anything. And cheers to better client retention. And that's a wrap. You now have the 3 essential systems that will reduce client churn, boost retention, and create a predictable, scalable agency. So now it's time to take action. If you're looking for a plug-and-play solution, we have an incredible client management ClickUp template bundle that has so many of the resources that I walked through in today's video. From tracking client health, to streamlining client onboarding, and making sure your fulfillment is smooth like butter. Or if you're looking for more of a custom client management system built for you, let's chat. Feel free to book a consultation call at the link in the description, and let's talk about how we can create a tailored ClickUp system for your company to make sure you're keeping your clients long-term. And one last thing, if you found this video helpful, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, like this video, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so you never miss out on another system strategy tutorial for your company. And feel free to drop a comment below and let me know which of these systems you're going to implement first. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.